Good Thursday morning. We're here in a really hot Dallas, Texas. I'm getting ready to start training for the Pikes Peak Ascent in September. A half marathon length, 7,800 foot ascent up a mountain in Colorado Springs, top of America's mountain. One of the keys to ascending the mountain, I believe, is resilience, both in training and also in the mountain. And that means resistance to injury. One of the key things for me over time has been making sure my hamstrings are bulletproof. Today, for anyone it benefits, I want to show an exercise that's been very valuable for me in bulletproofing my hamstrings. Before I did this exercise, which is called the Nordic Curl, I would get hamstring pulls all the time whenever I would sprint. I was sprinting 400 meter repeats at a time, and every repeat was touch and go about whether or not my hamstring would pull. If I was in a bad mood, if I drank the right kind of protein powder the night before, squatted too heavy, it would just go. Ever since I started these exercises, which maximize the contraction at the fully extended point of the hamstring, where the hip is in full extension and the hamstring is loaded. Just like you have eccentric contraction in a sprint, I have been able to minimize my hamstring injury. Right now I am coming back from a little pull I had as a result of not doing enough of these, but I picked them up. As you'll see, I'm very weak at this exercise. I cannot perform it all the way down the way you're supposed to. However, even with this assistance of the bands, it still proves extraordinarily useful to me. So take a look at the Nordic Curl, which is a great resilience exercise for trail, road, and ultra running. Now let's see if I fall on my face, because that would be what normally happens. I'll try to do it. This is called a Nordic stick. It is this apparatus I have back here. It's designed to be placed under a door. There's a paucity of doors in my domicile, so I'm going to put it under a power rack where it sort of fits. And you see, kind of brace your toes against here, and this provides something for you to push up against here. Get in there. Now, if I were actually strong, let's get this set up. See, if I were actually strong, like, knees over toes guy or somebody, right? Who's really popularized this thing. Then I would do this all the way down, nice and clean. But I'm only an aspiring strong person. But again, I found that by doing these, even with assistance, massive amounts of band assistance, where I kind of have to force myself down into all but the lowest part of the position. See, I'm pressing myself down here even. This is still a huge benefit to me. It gives me just a great stretch all the way down to the bottom. I try to keep my hips straight as opposed to piking. It seems like pretty much everyone who isn't just like an absolute machine kind of does pike without assistance. Like even knees over toes guy pikes a little bit. It seems like it's not the worst thing in the world to pike, but you want to emphasize a glute extension. So he'll even stop here and then pop up like that with some upper back momentum. Note upper back momentum, not piking the hips. Keep the hips on the ground. Boom. That will ensure that the loading is more similar to what you have with a full range of motion. You want to be able to extend the hip fully and then maximally load that hamstring with an eccentric contraction. This is what happens. It's analogous to what happens in some respect at the strike and recovery of the foot on the ground, I think. At least that's what I tell myself. And you know how you just get hamstring pulls that kind of like just happen? You're coming along and like pop. Oh well, there's like a week of my training life gone. Those ones I think like are happen especially at this range of motion. When the hip is fully extended as you're moving through the sprint, and then your hamstring, unbeknownst to you, is just not strong enough to handle that load. So it's a very specific range of motion in which this works. Research has shown, I believe, that eccentric contractions and isometrics tend to produce strength most in the range of motion where they're closest to. Now I'm taking a little less resistance here. Big band. So let's do, ouch. So you need to have some degree of a load down there, even if you're assisting it massively by hand. Let's see if I can get 10. 4, 5. Spicy. Load my, so I'm going to sink back on my haunches. I'm going to try to deliberately load my quads a little more. Firing the quads tends to help. I think that's 6. Those watching at home will know if it's 6 or 7. I have a tendency to kind of subtract reps as I go along. It's an endurance athlete thing, but that's definitely at least 7. And now I've got 8. And 9. And here is 10, but because you always go one more, right, Nick Bear? Always go one more. Get everyone does that, right? There's 11. All right, that's 51 total reps of the Nordic Curl. Kind of some ones you guys didn't see. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have good luck and resilience with all of your lower body training. Have a good Thursday.